Hello everyone and welcome along to another night in the TGP1 series. We are here for rounds 9 and 10 of season 34, Canada and France. Round the circuit, first of all we have Canada round the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the city of Montreal. The 2.7 mile circuit in Montreal, 14 turns, and then we go to Paul Ricard afterwards. So, going into tonight, we have the championship standings. I first may introduce Dom, my co-commentator for this evening. Hello, Dom.
Good evening, Alan. Good evening, everyone.
So, now we've got the niceties out of the way at the beginning. Let's get down to the serious business. We've got 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session. I'm going to quickly run through the championship order before heading into tonight. And the championship leader heading into tonight is Kyle. Kyle has 123 points and he's currently sitting P2 on the grid with 7 minutes to go. Then we have Matt Tibos in second. He has not set a lap time yet, is currently down in P10 on 83 points. Corey not here again tonight on 81 in third. Then we have J Luke in fourth, currently fourth on the grid ironically enough on 76, and Dan the Man rounds out the top 5 with 70 points and he's currently third. So what are your thoughts about what's going to happen in the remaining few minutes of this qualifying session, Dom?
Well, we are expecting a bit of rain to drop very shortly, so just 6 minutes to go. There's a chance that these lap times we've seen so far might actually already be the quickest we're going to see. So the drivers need to get last laps in very quickly now. Time is running out. We're expecting the rain to arrive in about 2 or 3 minutes' time. But can I just say, what a championship we've got here so far. 5 winners from the last 5 races. We've had 6 so far this season. And we've got Corey returning this week, looking to get his title charge back on track. Kyle currently leading the championship, as you said. But the chasing pack right behind him, Matt Tibos, Corey, will both feel they have a chance of getting back into that fight. But at the moment, it is Jack Hickey, who really impressed last week. 2 podiums. The first time we've seen proper pace from him this season. And he's currently set the quickest time, and by about a tenth over Kyle. Dan the Man, expect to see a quicker lap from him. He's normally in the low 108 around here. But yeah, with rain in the air, I think these drivers need to be quick and get out there very soon.
Yeah, well, you can see we're on board with Matt Tibos at the moment. He's coming down the back straight here at Montreal. Just got a couple more corners to go here towards the end of the year. He's on a flying lap, 13 and 14 to go. So flick it in through 13 and 14. Avoid the wall of champions on the exit. No invalidation this time. So this will be his first flying lap of the session with 5 minutes to go, and he's gone pole with 108.3.
What a lap. What a lap that is there from Matt Tibos. Into pole position, looking for his 3rd pole of the season. The last 2 came at the China and Netherlands. At the China and Netherlands. So Matt Tibos 3 tenths quicker than Jack Hickey, now down to 2nd. Kyle on a lap, but has already invalidated it at turn 1. So he will not be improving on this time. Will he have enough tyres in there to do another run? Or will he be back into the pits? Dan the Man and Luke on outlaps now. But yeah, great lap from Matt.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who's on a lap at the moment. There's a few guys on outlaps at the moment. I think Risky's the only one actually on a flying lap at this current moment in time as he heads through 8 and 9, heading towards the hairpin at 10. And what are your thoughts on this interesting circuit here in Montreal? It's a street circuit, but it hasn't got the same characteristics as some of the other street circuits on the calendar.
Yeah, so personally, street circuits aren't necessarily my favourite kind of circuits to race around. Monaco, I always seem to struggle at. As Newgarden gets disqualified from the session, not sure what that's for. Yeah, Canada, I do like this one a lot more. I think the last chicane's a real challenge. You've got to be so careful not to cut those corners. I think got to be careful here of time penalties. They could come into play in the race around here. As we see Risky Racer going wide at turn 1. He's not improved, he's P10. But yeah, Canada, tricky circuit. A real challenge for the drivers, not necessarily the challenge of a street circuit, but still with a Wall of Champions, the final chicane, there's still so many places. Turn 1 can be tricky. And yeah, Canada, a circuit I enjoy personally.
Yeah, I was just watching on board with J Luke there. He was on a fly, had a purple middle sector, but then made a mess of the hairpin, and I think he's pretty much lost all that time. We'll see as he crosses the line if he does make any improvement, but I don't think he'll be challenging for pole with this lap time. So, heading down the straight, what's the time going to be? It's not an improvement from J Luke on that lap. Meanwhile, Dan the Man's just coming out of 9 himself, heading towards the hairpin. What's this lap time going to be? He's currently 4 bloody hell. That middle sector, nearly 5 tenths quicker in the middle sector than his previous best. So he's going to be right up with Matt Tibos if he continues on this pace. He had a decent hairpin there. He's got the DRS wide open. Heading towards 13 and 14. Down the casino straight. Just got a couple more corners to go. Got to be so careful with the chicane not to invalidate your lap, and he hasn't there. Avoided the wall of champions nicely. What's his lap time going to be? And he's gone pole.
Kong Hoffner as well, into the last corner. Can he put that McLaren out the front? Down the man, a good time from him, 108.2. Kong Hoffner up to only 8, did a great first sector. It was a purple middle sector, but he lost it at the final chicane and does not improve. He goes 8, down the man though. Currently quickest with a 108.2, great lap. As I think Corey's about to start his first lap of the session, currently down in 17th position.
Yes, he is indeed. He's just warming himself up, trying to see if there's anyone actually on a flyer at the moment. Knighton's on a flyer, and Phil's on a flyer. Mr. Chiapelli's furthest round actually on a flying lap at the moment. He's just coming towards the end of Sector 1. He's actually having a good session so far, currently P6 on the grid, isn't he, Dom?
Yeah, Lucas' best qualifying so far this season is only 11th, so already P6 is quite a jump from the 11th place he's used to. 5 places higher. This is a circuit he does well normally at in TGP2 in the past. He's 1 year in TGP2, I think 2 seasons ago, so he's got good history here. He's apparently got a purple middle sector. He's a 10th up on his previous best.
Yeah, it's not on his best what normally happens there, but carry on, Dom.
If he finds a 10th, he will go up into P5, and you can see ahead of Ferrari or a McLaren. I think that might be Kong returning to the pit lane. If he can get a distant tow from that McLaren, he might just find the time he needs to go ahead and split the Williams. Currently 4th and 5th. Very generous with the final chicane, and now will he go for the shortest line to the finish? He will. He sticks to the right. Can he put that Renault at the front? He goes up a place into P5. He splits the Williams. Good lap from Luca.
On board with Phil Bardwell. He's also in the final chicane. He's invalidated this lap, and that's not really a surprise to see Phil Bardwell do that in the Red Bull. Aiden's just starting to flying laps. Phil's out.
And Corey about to finish his first flying lap of the session. Can he grab pole position, a 4th of the season? The Mercedes driver needs a 108.2 to beat down the man, a 108.3 to go into the front row. He crosses the line and goes 3rd, 3/10 back from the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, trying to see who else is on flying lap. We've got
Kyle around the final corner. I think he's invalidated there. He has invalidated the final corner, and he is also going to have to go for one more run.
Yeah, meanwhile we've got Aiden in the middle sector now, heading towards 8 and 9. I think he's the furthest up the road on the flying lap. Goes through 8 and 9, pretty tidy through there. Heading towards the hairpin now. What's his second sector time going to be? Is it going to be a decent one? He's currently about 3.5 tenths up on his previous best as he heads through that sector. Decent hairpin again from Aiden. I think that he'll be heading on for a decent lap and probably put himself a couple of positions higher on the grid, Dom.
Yeah, so Aiden looking to gain place at the moment, only back down at P11. Of course, top 10 means he will start on the tyres that he qualifies on. Also be careful of Matt Tibbles. He's just a few seconds back from Aiden, looking to beat down the man's pole time. What can Aiden do? Can he improve on his time? Currently P11, goes up to 9th, and Matt Tibbles has hit the wall of champions. He's not going to improve. He's invalidated as well for good measure. I think that the man's safe for pole position.
Yes, we've got Hoffner still on a hot lap, and I think Risky's on a lap, but they're probably not going to be challenging up the front end of the grid. We'll keep an eye on them, see what they can do, see if they can promote themselves a bit further. Hoffner hasn't done a lap yet. Where's he going to put himself? He puts himself P12. Right, on board with Risky now, heading towards the same chicane, 13 and 14, the Wall of Champions chicane. Infamous for so many champions crashing into that wall. It's actually a deceptively tricky chicane there. You don't want to be too cautious, and you don't want to take too much curve, as Risky did there. What's his lap time going to be? He goes up into P7.
Nice lap.
I think that's all the runners. No, it isn't, because I think J. Luke is on a flyer as well, just behind Coet.
Yeah, so these will be the last runners, I think, across the line. Not sure. I think, yeah, Court is currently a little bit down on his time. He's not going to challenge those ahead. J. Luke is currently just 3 thousandths down off his own time, but he's got Court right in front of him. He may get held up here. He may actually work in favour of him. He could get a distant tow. Currently P8, I'm not sure he's going to find the 8 tenths he needs to beat down the man. Down the man looking safe for pole position, the first in quite a few seasons. He threatened it in Monaco. Can he do it here in Canada? J. Luke's the last one to really beat him. He gets that last chicane nice and done. Can he get a distant tow from Court across the line and prove on 8th place? He stays 8th. That's not what he needs. And Court only 13th.
Yeah, but I think the surprise of that quality session is probably Mr. Chiapelli up in 6th place. Been nowhere.
Yeah,
like you said, hasn't even qualified in the top 10 yet this season. Suddenly gets to Canada, he's banged it in P6, Dom.
Yeah, fantastic from him. And also down the man, what a time, a 108.2. That is his 79th career pole position, outright leader. Just a 24 ahead of Jonas now in the all-time list. But yeah, Luca, Mr. Chiapelli, P6, best result of the season, and by 5 places as well. Now can he finally score his first points of the season?
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for one of the guys in the pit lane to retire, and then we'll be carrying on towards the race. But that is going to be your qualifying order. So Dan the Man takes pole, Aeneas Ferrari, ahead of Matt Tibos in second and Corey in third. Matt Tibos and Corey very close to each other in the championship. 2 points, I think, separate them. Yes, they do. 2 points separate them in the championship. So that's going to be handy in the battle for second. Kyle, bit disappointing from the championship leader. He's down in 5th place, but his nearest rivals are further up the grid. But he's got a bit of a buffer, hasn't he, Don, in the championship, like we said.
Yeah, so Kyle looking pretty good. He's been helped by Corey missing the last week. He, of course, returns this week, only 3rd, but does out-qualify Kyle. Kyle will be looking for safe results over the next coming weeks. But yeah, Kyle's championship lead pretty healthy at the moment. He needs to just keep an eye on Corey in the Mercedes and Matt Tibos in the Renault. Dan the Man will also feel he has a chance too, so can't rule him out.
Yeah, we can't indeed. Anyway, yeah, we're just waiting for the final few seconds in this session to tick over, and we'll have a full rundown of the grid for you. So, final few seconds waiting along here in this qualifying session. And here is the full grid rundown. We have Dan the Man in the Ferrari getting pole by less than a tenth over Matt Tibos in second. Then we have Corey in 3rd in the Mercedes. Jack Hickey rounding out row 2. Kyle is in 5th in the Williams. Championship leader, not the best of qualifying from him. Mr. Chiapelli, best qualifying of the season in P6. Then we have Risky in 7th. J. Luke in 8th. Knighton and Aiden round out the top 10. Then we have Phil in 11th. Colin Hoffner 12th. Kurt in 13th. LaHoffner in 14th. And then all the guys behind didn't actually set a lap time. Iceman 15th, Fishy in 16th, Waze 17th, and Newgarden in 18th. As we get ready to go for the Canadian Grand Prix, what are your thoughts into this race, Dom?
How good would it be to see Dan the Man finally take a win for the first time in I think about 5 seasons? He came so close in Monaco last week. He led the whole race. It looked in control. He made a strange call to pit for a second time, which... not the wisest decision, I think it's fair to say, last week. Gave John as the win instead. But Dan the Man now finally with a chance to make up for amends from last week and take the victory. What can he do though? Matt Tibos alongside him in P2. Corey can't rule him out. Already won twice this season, but not since the first week when he won Australia and Bahrain back to back. He's been without a win now for 3 weeks. And of course Kyle in 5th place on the grid and championship leader. So I think this race is completely open and I can't wait to see which way it goes.
Yes, we can't indeed. Can't wait to go. Teams on the grid are making their final few preparations as we get ready to go for this race here in Canada. So, lights out and away we go here in Canada, and it looks like a decent start from the guys on the front row. Dan and Matt Tibos side by side going into turn 1. I think Matt Tibos is going to lunge it round the outside. Someone hasn't moved off the grid. But anyway, Matt Tibos is taking the lead round turn 1. Dan the Man in 2nd, Corey 3rd, J. Luke 4th, Carl getting up to 5th. Mr. Chiapelli losing a couple of places off the start. He's down to P8. But that was a good start there from Matt Tibos, weren't it, Dom?
An even better start from J. Luke, up to P4, from 8th on the grid. It was a dreadful start for Kyle. He's sort of still gained a place thanks to Jack Hickey's mistake. And Mr. Chiapelli's dropped back to 8th, but what a start it was for Matt Tibos as well at the front. He got the jump, he needed to get it done quickly. Corey for now has stayed in 3rd, but Kyle behind J. Luke. J. Luke gaining 4 places, what a start.
Yeah, and what a start indeed. And Dan the Man's already lost a second to Matt Tibos on that race start, and he's got Corey for company all over the back of him, very close to the back of him, into the hairpin. That is turn 10, and now they head down the casino straight off.
Yeah, Speed Newgarden, the only one of these runners on the medium tyres. They've all gone for the softs, and now can Corey straight away get through on Dan the Man. Look at that, he does not need the DRS. He pulls to the right. He's going to take him into the chicane, is he? He will be later on the brakes. Corey goes for it. Dan the Man turns in still, and Corey then makes slight contact. But Dan the Man keeps the position for now.
And more importantly, Corey's already picked up 3 seconds worth of time penalties on that first lap alone. So very easy to pick up penalties around this Canadian circuit for track extending or quarter cutting. As we've seen Corey, lap 1, already picked up 3 warnings and got himself a penalty.
J. Luke has been repassed by Kyle. Kyle got a better exit in the last chicane. He's taken 4th back from his teammate. Disaster for the McLaren drivers. Colin Hoffner picked up damage, spun round on his own, flipped the wall, has come in for a new front wings. That's not the start he needed onto medium tyres. He'll try and go to the end now. 18 laps on those tyres are going to be tight, but it should be doable. But yeah, wow, Dan the Man getting racy with Corey, showing no signs of weakness and keeping that position.
Yeah, very much elbows out sort of stuff from Dan the Man there. That's what we like to see. Elbows out, not giving up, no surrender. Some drivers may like that, some feel it's too aggressive at times, but that's the way it is. You've just got to get your elbows out. His positions are everything. Yes, he's got to fend off again from Corey as he heads down the straight, but he might need to bear in mind, if he can get it on the radio, that Corey's already got penalty done.
Yeah, so Corey 3-second time. I'm not sure what that was for. He's got a second one. So it's already 6 seconds. He's back, and look at the gap that Matt Tibbles is pulling out front. 2 seconds the difference now over Dan the Man. Dan the Man just not showing any signs of pace that we saw in qualifying. Matt Tibbles in a race of his own at the moment, looking for a second win of the season. But now DRS, surely Corey is going to find Dan a sitting duck on that back straight.
Yeah, there's 3 DRS zones on this circuit. You've got in between turns 7 and 8. You've got the back straight in between 10 and 13, and then you've got the main straight, the start-finish straight. So here's the first of them, Corey. DRS flap open. I don't think it's really realistically an overtaking opportunity into this one, if we're quite honest, are we, Dom?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the back straight most likely. I think Corey will be wise. He'll wait for that back straight and try and get him into the chicane. Further in the background as well, I've got Jack Hickey looking to make a move on J-Luke. J-Luke has lost the toe, lost the DRS to his teammate. So a chance of 2 possible moves here, but the most action at the moment seems to be second and third. Dan and Corey, the gap just 4 tenths. Look at the speed he's going to pull on that Ferrari driver now. Dan moves right, Dan moves left, but Corey with extra DRS, extra energy, will pull to the right, pull alongside, and take the position into the chicane. Can Dan fight it back? Now in the next DRS, as they go into turn 1, I think Dan might actually have a good chance here. He's got a better exit through the chicane. He's going to pull to the right, is he? Corey tries to block that line. There's just enough room for Dan round the outside, but Corey for now holds position and takes P2.
Yeah, and also I'd like to note that this is the first lap that Corey didn't pick up a penalty this race, so congratulations, Corey.
Well done, Corey.
He did pick up a penalty this time round as he gets P2 on that lap, so DRS maybe done him some favours there. But we've got this group of 3 battling for second place, because Kyle is actually just on the back of this train and maybe looking at Dan as well, Dom.
Yeah, and this squabble is helping Matt beautifully. 2.3 seconds to gap, so he's not actually gained anything on the last lap, despite Dan and Corey switching positions. But Matt Tibbles now with a 2-second lead can sort of turn the earth a little bit down as Kyle almost clips the wall there. He's got to be careful. He's picked up a 3-second time penalty in the process. That's not what he needs. He needs to keep it smart here. He's the championship leader. He's got Matt and Corey as 2 nearest rivals right in front of him. Dan the Man actually close enough to Corey to potentially get him back into the chicane. And as you said, Kyle right on the back of these 3. So this is a great race shaping up. It
is a great race and shaping up indeed. I don't think there's going to be any overtakes this time round, but I'm keeping an eye on Iceman and Phil Bardwell. It's the battle for P9 and 10. Iceman was about a tenth behind him going into the hairpin, clipped the back of him and actually had a poor exit. So he's all over the back of him going through 13 and 14. He's picked up a 3-second time penalty. I don't know if he picked up front wing damage as well there, clipping the wall of champions. Is he going to make a move into turn 1? I don't think he's quite close enough, Phil.
Yeah, just a bit too far back, unfortunately, for the Ferrari driver. He'll have better chances, but there's a nice little train starting here behind J-Luke, really. But you've got Hickey behind him, Nyson, Aiden, Phil, Iceman, CJH and Courtfield all in this fight. Of course, points down to top 10. So 2 of these at the moment are not in the points positions. Corey remains 2 seconds back, so not eating into that lead. I think Matt Tibbles is just saving his urge. In fact, he is. You can see Corey down to just 18% urge. But yeah, this is brilliant.
Well, he hasn't got all the way from Dan the Man just yet. He's pulling a little bit of a gap, but he hasn't gone miles up the road, and Matt Tibbles is sort of staying in front in about 2 seconds, starting to come down slightly this lap from Corey, but Dan the Man still quite close to the back of him and has DRS on this straight. Meanwhile, further down the pack, Aiden's got a very good chance at the back of Speed 9 for P7 top.
Yeah, Speed 9 will look to defend. He'll have the DRS from Jack Hickey in front. The 2 racing points, mixing a racing point sandwich here. Speed 9 aims a little too far back, but might find his chances are going to be good if he can get a good run to turn 1, but that's not the run he needs. You can see 9 using his DRS in front, which will keep him surely ahead. Aiden will not go for a move into turn 1. That would have been a... In fact, Corey is pitted, I think. Sorry. Oh no, Aiden's hit the back of Knighton.
Aiden's clipped the back of Knighton there. Corey pitted, like you said, so he's the first of the leaders to pit. But Aiden's clipped the back of Knighton, and Knighton's lost, what, 4 places, 5 places from that? He's going to lose
that's not what...
from that, but I think Aiden's got some front wing damage now.
Yeah, and you can see Phil right on the back of him. Corey has come out in clean air, so keep an eye on him. He'll be looking to do the undercut on Matt Tibbles as a yellow flag in the second sector. I think it's a red ball. It's CJH. He was doing so well. He was up to 12th, gained 7 places.
He was right behind Knighton, actually. There was scrapping behind, so I don't know if there's something happened there between those two, or if he's just made a mistake on his own. Kurt, meanwhile, is all over the back of Knighton as well.
Yeah, and look at this. We've got Phil Bardwell practically pushing. We've got 2 battles, it sounds like, going on there.
Yeah, Kurt has got the job done on Knighton. Meanwhile, I'm going to switch back to the Aiden and Phil battle, and Phil's got DRS. Matt Tibos has peeled into the pit lane as well, so all the drivers are starting to make their pit stops now, Dom.
Yeah, Kyle, the only one then of the top 5 who are staying out. Sorry, J-Luke's staying out. Matt Tibos, Dan the Man, and Kyle all reacting to the pit stop of Corey. Corey, let's see where he is. He in comparison. He's coming through the start finish right now. Will he jump? He's not going to jump Matt Tibos, I don't think. Can he get in front of Dan the Man? In fact, it's going to be very close.
It's going to be very tight with Dan.
Races to the pit exit, and he does take the position, but yeah, Dan the Man behind Corey still, and Kyle, in fact, is going to come out behind Risky and Jack Hickey.
Oh, so yeah, that's 4. Did he have a front wing change or something? Or
side by side of Risky.
Yeah.
He needs to get the position quickly if he wants to get his race win hopes back up there. He's got through. Nicely done from Kyle, the Williams driver, back into P9, but yeah, he must have had front wing damage to repair.
Yeah, it must have, because he's been jumped by Jack Hickey, he was close, but he wasn't that close. And yeah, Kyle's definitely lost out. He pulled off a great move though on Risky on the pit exit there to maintain position in front of him. Quite crucial. He didn't want to lose time to a guy that hasn't pitted yet. Meanwhile, Corey is only a second behind Matt Tibos now in the net lead of the race.
Yeah, Mr. Chiapelli, a disastrous race for him. He got spun round by himself at the start, down to P14. He's lost 8 places, not what he needed. He's now got CJH 87 all over the back of him. The Rebel driver clearly quicker at the moment in this stage of the race, but he just can't quite get close enough to Mr. Chiapelli to make the move as J. Luke and Phil both dive into the pit lane. They will now do a 10-lap stint on the medium tyres to the end. Is Miss CJH going to be close enough to Mr. Chiapelli to get the move into the chicane? Mr. Chiapelli not with the use of his ERS or the DRS. He moves right, he moves left. CJH will have to pick a line, but Luca's making that Renault as wide as he can. CJH practically taps the back of Mr. Chiapelli. Mr. Chiapelli really struggling at the moment on that Renault in those tyres. And yeah, stuck behind at the moment.
Yeah, stuck behind at the moment. Knighton's stuck behind Risky as well. I was noticing that Risky hasn't pitted yet. Started on the medium tyres, of course. Meanwhile, Jack Hickey's actually gained 2 places in this round of stop, because he's actually jumped J-Luke as well. So very good stop from the Racing Point crew. Maybe there was front wing damage or just slow stop entries from the Williams guys, and Jack Hickey pushed it to the absolute limit and got 2 positions because of it.
Yeah, I think so. Disastrous then for the Williams drivers. Currently constructors leaders, but not showing any signs of the form they've showed so far this season in this race. As Aidan Griffins, what's Aidan doing? I don't know if you saw that, but Aidan has just tapped the back of Luca by accident. He's going to wait for Luca to go back through, but a very silly move from Aidan, and Mr. Chiapelli will go through, so Aidan lets him back through. I'm not sure Mr. Chiapelli will be too happy about that. He might have come in for a new front wing. But yeah, as Corey is now just 3 tenths on the back of Matt Tibos.
Yeah, he is all over the back of Matt Tibos now. We've got Speed Newgarden just in front of him. He, of course, has not made his pit stop yet, so he's going to actually be helping Matt Tibos for the time being, giving him the DRS down the straights until he pits. I'm guessing he's on the medium tyres, I want to say. Yes, he is, started on those medium tyres. Mr. Speed Newgarden in the AlphaTauri. But we've got Corey all over the back. Is he going to make a move into turn 8? I don't think he will, Dom.
He's getting very close. Matt Tibos might actually gain from this. If he can get the DRS from Speed Newgarden onto the back straight, of course, don't forget Corey does have penalties carrying over. Matt Tibos might not necessarily know that, but this is not helping Matt Tibos. Stuck behind the AlphaTauri Speed Newgarden. Corey's going for a move, and Matt Tibos will for now stay in front, and for now he'll get the DRS on Speed Newgarden, and he'll look to clear that AlphaTauri as soon as he possibly can. But can Corey gain 2 places here? Will Newgarden dive into the pit lane? Corey running out of room. Is he going to be brave enough to go for a move on the AlphaTauri? I think he is going to go for it.
Yeah,
the AlphaTauri just sits behind, he's smart, and Matt Tibos for now keeps the lead, but Corey is all over him, looking racy.
Yeah, well, I think it was a help and a hindrance. It was a help in the fact that Matt Tibos was getting DRS down those straights, which meant it gave him extra speed to fend off from Corey. There was a hindrance because in the corners he is roll over the back of him and just had nowhere to go.
7th place Kyle is currently on for just 6 points in this race. Championship leader. He's got Phil Bardwell all over the back of him. Really struggling that Williams today. Has he picked up more damage? I think he's now 2.2 seconds back from his teammate. So really struggling around this track. Championship leader not showing the form he's showed so far this season. We've got Dan the Man right on the back of Newgarden now, looking to clear that AlphaTauri as soon as he possibly can. We've got Phil on the back of Kyle. We've got Con Hoffner catching up to Court in the final points position. And of course the battle at the front. Corey all over the back of Matt Tibos. I don't know where to look.
Yeah, I think the main battle is Corey, because Corey's got DRS as they head on to the back straight this time round, just coming through turn 10 now, the 2 drivers. That is a great camera shot, by the way. Great camera shot we have there as we go round the corner. Corey going to have the DRS, he's about 6 tenths behind, so it's going to be difficult in this first one, But if he can get a good exit out of the chicane of 13 and 40, avoid the wall of champions, he has a great shot of an overtake with Matt Tibos potentially in turn 1. But Matt Tibos actually got a very good exit out of that corner, Dom.
He did, just where he needed to get that Renault in front into turn 1 on lap 11. 8 laps to go now. Dan the Man has cleared the AlphaTauri speed Newgarden. He's up into P3, which is what he needed to do. He's already got a 2-second lead to Jack Hickey. Jack Hickey will want to try and snatch the podium for himself, but I think he's probably a little bit too far back now. He'll need to clear the AlphaTauri.
Time penalty, and Jack Hickey there, sorry to interrupt you, Dom. Both of them have picked up time penalty. I think on the penalty count, Matt Tibos still has less penalties than Corey, the guy behind.
Now this could allow Dan the Man in 3rd position to snatch the win for himself, so it might not be over for the Ferrari driver. We saw Jack Hickey get 2 podiums last week, showing real signs of improvement this season. Can he and Corey now once again all over the back of Matt Tibos? It looks like a matter of when and not if for the Mercedes driver.
It is indeed. Remember though, if penalties bearing in mind, this order as it stands at the moment is very provisional. It could change come the final results. Corey with DRS, he's a lot closer this time round actually to the back of Matt Tibos, but again he's going to be too far back into 13 and 40. Needs to nail the exit out of here to have any chance of getting him into turn 1. He had a bit of a slide. I think that's no real chance for him there, Dom.
Yeah, Corey's not quite getting fast enough in the corners he needs to be at. He's just sliding it through where he doesn't need to. Matt Tibos is very good at the traction, very good at acceleration out of corners, and that Renault driver for now remains in the lead. Speed 9 is into P10, right on the back of court. That Newgarden now pitting in the second AlphaTauri, which promotes those two up a place. Phil Bargel still pushing Carl for that P6. And yeah, Corey and Matt, this looks like this is going to go on for the next 6 or 7 laps.
Yeah, this could be a race to the end between those two. Corey, realistically, with the penalty situation as it stands at the moment, probably needs to get past him. I'm going to have a quick look at the penalty situation, Dom, so you keep an eye on this.
Yeah, so Corey all over the back of Matt Tibos now. This looks like his best chance so far. Will he go for a move into the hairpin? He thinks about it almost. With that, he does tap the back of the Renault driver. Needs to be careful not to lose his front wing or pick up another penalty. Corey wanting to clear that Renault as soon as he can. You can see how impatient he is. He wants that position. He wants this race win. He's not won since Bahrain. Matt Tibos looking desperate in that Renault. It looks like for now Corey is still going to have to sit behind him. Matt Tibos holds the position, but again another chance for Corey to get him into turn 1 with another use of the DRS. Can that Renault be just wide enough to keep the Mercedes back? Will Corey go for a lunge into the first corner? He chooses not to. And Matt Tibos still leads by 0.3 of a second. This is brilliant.
Yeah, I've just had a quick look through the penalties there. There's quite a lot of penalties being dished out for corner cuttings, so drivers need to be really careful from now on. Because we've seen it in races in TGP this season, especially in TGP2, where the winner of the race in TGP2 in Spain ended up finishing 4th, Dom.
They did, I think that was you, wasn't it, Aaron?
It might have been.
Yeah, so Corey then right on the back of Matt Tibos. Interestingly, Phil and Carl have caught up with the Williams of J. Luke as Corey picks up another time penalty. Yeah, so that puts Dan the Man right into this race. Can Dan the Man pinch it from the pair of them? Corey running out of chances to get through. He's got to now clear Matt and pull 6 seconds on the Renault driver, which he did do at the start of the season on J. Luke. Pulled the 6 seconds he needed. Dan the Man without a penalty, looking good to possibly snatch this win. Yeah,
closest it's been so far. Corey to the outside, heading towards turn 13. He's going to have the move done, and Corey's into the lead of the race. He's got 6 seconds to make up to try and beat Matt Tibos in this race, though, Dom.
He does. What can he do? He's got 5 laps to show the pace in that Mercedes. Only set 1 qualifying lap, and it was good enough for P3 on the grid. You suspect he could have gone higher if he'd got more runs in, so a good 1 lap from him. But Matt Tibos struggling here in the Renault. Maybe he knows Corey has the 6 seconds extra worth of penalties. But Dan the Man, do not forget about him. He can win this race as Kyle all over the back of his teammate now. Just 0.3 of difference. Will J. Luke let him through and allow Kyle to catch up with the 4 in front?
Well, J. Luke's got his own championship battle to worry about because he's not too far behind Corey and Matt Tibos in the championship. So he's losing out to him this race. So he doesn't realistically want to help the championship leader, Kyle. Yes, he's his teammate, but he's got his own championship battle to worry about, Dom.
You're right, both Williams drivers will feel at this point in the season, only on round 9, still with 12, 13 more rounds to go, that both are in with a chance of this championship. They may be leading the constructors, but both will want the drivers for themselves, as J. Luke for now holds off his teammate Phil Bardwell now a second back. So Phil Bardwell maybe just getting out of the DRS for now, but Kyle just a bit too far back, I think, to make a move on J. Luke here. As Matt Tibos sticking with Corey up front, the gap is just 4 tenths.
Yeah, which is not what Corey wants to see. Basically, I think Matt Tibos, all he really has to do now in this race is stick with Corey, and he's got to beat him on the road. I don't know how many penalties Dan has got behind. He's
no
only about
seconds.
2 seconds. Pardon?
Dan the Man has no penalties, so it's looking very good for the Ferrari driver. He needs to stay within 3 seconds of Matt Tibos. The gap is currently 1.8. He'll probably know the information he can ask his engineer. So Dan the Man at the moment leading this race with 3.5 laps to go.
Yes, yeah, we've got to bear that in mind. All these positions at the moment are for track position rather than the actual final results, bearing in mind all these penalties that have been dished out today so far for corner cutting and track extended here in Canada. Canada is one of those circuits it's very difficult to keep it in between the lines at times, and it's one of the stricter circuits for corner cutting penalties, wouldn't you say, Dom?
Yeah, I think in TGP2 only 2 drivers managed to finish the race without a time penalty. I think it's going to be a very similar situation here. It's very easy to do as Kyle all over the back of Williams' teammate. Sure, he's going to get in now into the final chicane. He pulls to the right. Kyle does not look like he's going to be threatened by Luke. Luke for now stays behind, doesn't challenge him back. And that's Kyle up to P5.
Yeah, Kyle moving up a position there. And yeah, Kyle moving up a position, puts himself into P5. J. Luke in P6, Phil in P7.
The McLaren driver Lee Hoffner has lost it by himself. He is out of this race. There is not a safety car. I think a little too late for that now. Just 3 laps to go. So just the yellow flags here. But that's a shame for Lee Hoffner. His teammate Con Hoffner has worked himself back up to P10. I've got to say, a great drive so far from Court. Up 5 places from 13th on the grid. That Mercedes driver into P8 and looking like he's going to keep that position. But we see for now, Dan the Man is 2.3 seconds back from Matt Tibbles. He needs to be 3 seconds behind, and he will pinch this race. Both drivers in front do carry time penalties. Dan the Man will know that. And at the moment, it's looking good for Dan the Man, but he just needs to not lose 5 tenths in the next 2 laps. A lot harder said than done. Matt Tibbles has already pulled a second on Dan the Man, and with Matt Tibbles getting DRS here from Corey, he's only extending that gap he has over the Ferrari driver, so all 3 of these drivers will feel they have a chance still. Corey will expect that maybe Matt Tibbles behind pushing will pick up time penalties himself and put himself back into the equation. But look at this. This is brilliant. The front 2 of Corey and Matt Tibbles have been side by side within a second of each other all race. But now Corey leads on the roads. Matt Tibbles just 4 tenths back. He's going to have another lap and a half to try and do something about the position on the track. Jack Hickey 3.5 seconds back from Dan the Man. In the background, we've got Con Hoffner, who is caught up to Speed Knighton. He'll be looking to gain an extra point for finishing in P9. Yellow flags and set for 3. I think that is for Mr. Chiapelli. He's had a mistake. So that's Matt Tibbles' teammate, Mr. Chiapelli, spinning at the hairpin. A disastrous race for him. Tapped before earlier on by Aidan Griffins. Both those drivers will be leaving here without points in this race. Dan the Man, crucially, has pulled a few tenths back on Matt Tibbles. Matt Tibbles maybe now losing a bit of time behind the Mercedes driver of Corey. We're going to have 1 more lap to go at the end. Speed Risky becomes the 4th casualty from this race. And is Matt Tibbles going to get a move into the final chicane? Will he want to make the move? He doesn't necessarily have to make it. He's going to pull to the right. Can he get that Renault alongside and ahead of the Mercedes driver? Got to be so careful not to hit that wall of champions. I've done it before with a lap to go, throwing away all the hard work of the previous laps. Matt Tibbles, I say, doesn't have to get past Corey, but if he needs to pull 3 seconds on Dan the Man, who doesn't currently carry a time penalty, Matt Tibbles will probably have to get through, because Dan the Man at the moment is leading this race technically by about 8 tenths of a second. So Dan the Man, as long as he doesn't pick up a time penalty in this final lap, it's looking okay for him. Matt Tibbles just 6 tenths back from Corey. Will he make a move into this hairpin? It's looking good for Corey. That Mercedes seems to be better on its tyres, but I think Corey might just have enough here to win on the road at least.
So, sorry about that. I was trying to say, trying to interrupt you there, didn't realise my mic was still on mute. Con Hoffner has passed Knighton. It was a very good move around the outside at turn 1 as we were on this final lap of the race. Just got a few more corners, just 1 more chance for Matt Tibbles. Well, he doesn't have to worry about overtaking Corey. He can just sit behind, but I think Dan the Man's going to be the race victor here, Don.
Dan the Man just needs to get through this final chicane without trouble. He is on course to win our first win of the season, to make it 6 winners in 6 races. Corey for now will cross the line. He will take the checkered flag first. The Mercedes driver will cross the line first. It's Corey who crosses the line to win here in Canada. Matt Tibbles takes that place from him, but Dan the Man pinches the win at the very end to take a 62nd career race victory. It's 6 winners from 6 races. What a result that is for Dan the Man. Kyle comes home 5th. Can J. Luke jump in front of him on time penalties. He's going to be 6th. Phil Bardwell 7th on the road. Caught will cross the line. A very good result from him. P8 it is. Kong Hoffner, in fact, with the 5-second penalty to Court, Kong Hoffner might just jump. Court, in fact, no, he's lost a place to Speed 9. In fact, he drops out the points altogether, so that's not what the McLaren driver needed. And CKH side by side of Iceman to the finish. It's a drag race to the line, and it is Speed Iceman who just about takes 12th place. It's just pride there, no points for that, but what a race for Dan the Man. A 60-second career victory, pinching it at the end, making up for the Monaco woes last week.
Yes, indeed, a very good victory for Dan the Man. Just kept it tidy, and that's all you really need to do at Canada. Keep it tidy, keep it between the lines, and you could find yourself in a very good position at the end of the race. So Dan the Man picks up the victory, Matt Tibos 2nd, Corey in 3rd. So that's more points towards Matt Tibos. He extends his gap over Corey in the championship for the battle for 2nd place. Kyle had pretty of a abysmal day. Where was he? 5th in the end? Something like that?
Yeah, so he's finished 5th, 10 points. I think the best news for him is that his closest rivals of Matt and Corey finished 2nd and 3rd. Dan the Man putting himself right into the title race with that result. And of course, Kyle did crucially beat his teammate, so he's taking 2 points from him.
Yeah, Kyle probably want to put that race behind him and go on to bigger and better things in the next round at Paul Ricard. Meanwhile, we're just waiting for the guys to get onto the podium, have their celebrations, and give you the full race rundown. So there he is, Dan the Man, on the top step of the podium here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. He lifts the trophy and he wins the Canadian Grand Prix as the champagne is flying in the stands, and we'll get ready for the results.
Risky Racer got the fastest lap at the very end, so he takes that point away from anyone in the top 10. But yeah, Dan the Man, what a win.
Yeah, Dan the Man picks up the race victory from Matt Tibos in 2nd, then Corey in 3rd in the final rankings. Jack Hickey is 4th, Kyle in 5th, Jay Luke in 6th, then we've got Phil Bardwell in 7th, Kurt in 8th, Speed Newgarden in 9th, and Knighton picking up the final point in 10th. Con Hoffner, Iceman, Leclerc, Aiden, Mr. Chiapelli, Risky, LeHoffner, all those guys all missing out on points today. And funnily enough, Dan the Man was the only driver not to pick up a penalty in that race, Tom.
Yeah, we said it could be a case of the driver that doesn't get the penalty that takes the checkered flag on the top spot at the end. That's indeed exactly what happened. Dan the Man, what a race. His first win of the season. He came so close in Monaco last week. We were baffled by his strategy to come in for a 2nd time. No one does that in Monaco. What are you doing? Well,
what a race indeed as we get ready to go here at the circuit Paul Ricard. Ready to go for the French Grand Prix. So, have you been, I'll try to see, I'm going to have a quick look at the chat, see if there's anything going on here, Dom. But what are your thoughts heading to Paul Ricard?
Well, Paul Ricard, completely different circuit. Don't normally see the best races there in real F1, but normally a different case in league racing. So I think this is going to be a good race to look out for here. I honestly don't know who's going to win this. We've had, what, 6 winners in 6 races? Those 6 winners, of course, coming back since the Chinese Grand Prix. Matt Tibos, J-Luke, Khalifa, Jean, Kyle, and now Dan. So those 6 drivers join Corey as our 7 winners for the season. But yeah, France, a really technical circuit. Should be an interesting race.
Yeah, there's only been, what, 3 different winners this season? No, sorry, what am I going? 7 different winners. There's only been 2 double winners, and that's Matt Tibos and Corey, the guys battling over 2nd and 3rd in the championship. It's not even the championship leaders. He didn't pick up his first victory till Azerbaijan, and he's quite comfortably in the lead of the championship. But he's only won 1 race, so it just shows consistency is a feature that you have to have in racing in TGP, isn't it, Dom?
Yep, that's true. Consistency. I mean, Carl's only won 1 race all season, as you say, and he's championship leader by about 30 points. So I think that's only his. He only had 5 podiums in 9 races, yet somehow finds himself with the healthy lead he does in the championship. So yes, what can Kyle do next at France? Pretty disappointing race in Canada, only taking P5. We've got, I think, a 5-way fight for the title, so we'll get the points to very shortly. But hopefully, maybe Jack Hickey can extend this run of different winner streak, because he's a circuit he's done very well at in the past here.
Tis indeed, as we get ready to go for the qualifying session here at Paul Ricard. I hope Dom can take you through the first few minutes of this session for us, won't you, Dom?
Yes. Yes, I will. To dry qualifying then, here at Paul Ricard, France, second race of the night. Who will be the first drivers on track? Expect to see 3 runs for the drivers here. Corey only getting 1 run in at Canada, but that was good enough to put himself right at the front on the second row. P3 crossed the line first, but unfortunately for him, time penalties meant he lost the race victory and finished on third. Quite relieved actually to get a podium in the end, despite the 9 seconds worth of penalties he had. As we see, I think the Renault drivers preparing to release their cars out onto the circuit, as are Red Bull and McLaren. So Konghofner, Machine Fishy, Lee Hoffner, the first few drivers out onto circuit here at Paul Ricard. 80-minute qualifying session to determine the grid for this 10th round of the season. TGP1 season 34. Season 34! Bloody hell. Machine Fishy was first driver out on track for the Alfa Romeo, looking to claim his first pole position of the season. Came into this as a genuine chance for the championship. Finished second last season, just missing out. Unfortunately, in the last week, he was doing so well, led it for large parts of the season. But a disastrous final night saw him finish second, ultimately in the end, just behind his rival Corey. Fishy came into the season. Many felt it was his time to finally take that crown, take it back from the Mercedes driver. But so far this season it has not gone to plan. Yet to take a race victory, only once finishing on the podium, that coming in Spain. But he is the first driver to set a lap around this track, a 1:29.1. Next through will be the AlphaTauri of Speed Knighton. Apologies, Speed Newgarden, he invalidated his lap time, so it does not count. Kyle goes quick as a 1:28.5, finding 6 tenths on Fishy's lap. Fishy not seeming to have the pace on this game. Konhoffner goes into second with a 1:28.6, just a tenth back from Kyle. Of course, Konhoffner, reigning TGP2 champion, impressing in the top tier. He's on the podium in the Netherlands, P3, snatching that at the very end in that chaotic race. What a race that was. If you haven't seen that, I'd recommend you watching that back. Rain at the end, causing an almighty race, an almighty fight which looked like it was going to go anyway. Corey finds 0.02 of a second to displace Kyle from that current P1. A 1:28.546, just 0.02 quicker than the Williams driver. That's a very good start for him. Speed Iceman straight back into the pit lane. So in Valais, his lap time, very easy to do, just like Canada. These are two tracks that's really tricky to get it right. Let's see now who can set a time similar to the pace we've seen so far of Corey and Kyle, the current front two. And look at the gap between the front three. It is just literally 0.02 of a second. Those front three in a real title fight this season. Dan the Man is also in that scrap, winner in Canada. What can he do here at France, a circuit he doesn't necessarily enjoy that much? Can he put that Ferrari right into the mix here in qualifying? It's a good first sector. The second sector also pretty reasonable. I find this final corner really tricky to get right. Different lines you can take into it. Dan the Man doesn't appear to be on a very quick lap. This isn't going to be a fast one. Was he just setting himself up for the next lap? He crosses the line and goes only 10.3 seconds adrift, so definitely made a mistake somewhere on that lap. Not quite sure where that would have happened. That's not what he needs here in qualifying. Not the best start so far to the session for him. Lots of these drivers have validated their runs, so coming back into the pit lane. Speed Iceman in the second Ferrari has left the garage to set his first lap of the session. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. I think that is for Court, who's just setting himself up for a new lap. So, just a reminder that tomorrow we've got TGP2. We've got racing over the next 3 days here. TGP1 tonight, TGP2 tomorrow, around the Austrian and Great British circuits. And on Thursday we have the title climax, the three-way title fight in TGP Dirt, coming to a conclusion. The final round of the season. And so far, Luca, Roy and Phil, two of those drivers in this TGP1 league, Mr. Chiapelli and Phil Bardwell, as well as Jovial Manatee in that title fight for TGP Dirt. All three of them have won 2 rallies apiece this season, and all three of them go into the final round with just 12 points between them. 25 points for a win. And the way the point system works, it's a bit like MotoGP, 25-20, 16-13, so Luca, despite being 12 points clear, must still get a top 3 finish, and in rally, that is not an easy task. So definitely join us for that on Thursday night. We'll have live runs of the front three at 8:30. Mr. Chiapelli, Phil Bardwell and Jovial Manatee all going live simultaneously. They will look for their first TGP Dirt champion. There is going to be a new champion crown, so very exciting. Court in the Mercedes, about to complete his first lap. Ahead of him, Speed Iceman is about to cross the line. Court crosses the line. Where can he go in that Mercedes? He goes up to 10th, so he's into the top 10. Just slightly ahead of Speed Newgarden. Machine Fishy crosses the line. Does not improve. He's about to start another lap for him. All these drivers now getting ready for their second runs. Kyle currently just 0.02 of a second away from that pole time of Corey, 1:28.5. You'd like to think there's more time in the Williams driver. Can he snatch pole position from Corey in the first sector now? So far it's been pretty tidy. Kyle's really impressed this season. Last season was sort of find himself fighting in the midfield or upwards, so fighting for position sort of around 3rd, 4th, 5th, trying to snatch a podium if he could. But what a difference a game makes. He's come here. I probably didn't think he was going to be a championship contender at the start of the season, but he's really put himself right in that fight. And as I said, 60-point lead in the championship, despite only having one race win all season from the first 9 races. And Kyle looking good here as he completes the second sector, and look at that, he is 88 thousandths quicker than his current lap, which will be good enough to put him as the new pace setter out front with 8 minutes to go, if he can just get this final sector right. Such a tricky set to get right, this corner in particular. Don't want to run 2 right there, get on the curb, nicely done, turning a bit wide for this one. We've got drivers improving further down the field. Iceman is into P9, just ahead of Machine Fishy. Machine Fishy will want to improve on that time, he's going to cross the line very shortly too. What can Fishy do? He sets the new fastest time by 0.6 of a second, or 1:27.9. Where's that come from? Carl crosses the line. Does he go into second? He does. 0.4 back from the Alfa Romeo, but what a lap from Machine Fishy. We're looking for his first pole position of the season. And Corey has invalidated his lap time, which means he will be going again. Matt Tibos on a hot lap in the middle sector. Can he find the 0.6 that he needs to find to put himself on pole? Hasn't been on pole since the Netherlands race, in which he failed to score points. The Renault driver looking like a real threat once again, the only former champion in the current top 4. Matt Tibos, I do apologise, Corey of course is also a former champion. Apologies there, Corey. Matt Tibos crosses the line and goes second. 0.3 back. Champion of a few seasons ago. Matt Tibos looking for his second title. Corey looking for his second. Dan the Man looking for his 5th. And Kyle, the current leader, looking for his first. So Corey, a 10th up at the moment in the first sector. What can he do in the second sector? He finds another few 10ths. So is the Mercedes driver on course now to put himself right at the front with Fishy? Fishy and Corey, the 2 title contenders of last season, could be about to reignite their rivalry here at the French Grand Prix. We're expecting a dry race. The wet conditions not necessarily the conditions that Machine Fishy seems to like, so he'll be praying for a bit of dry. Corey around the final corner does that pretty nicely. Whether or not he's found the time to displace Fishy's pole time, crosses the line. Where does he go? 1:27.9 to beat a 1:28.1, so still 0.2 back from his rival. And these drivers will all now have one more run. Dan the Man about to start his next timed lap, his 3rd timed lap of the session. 6 minutes to go here in qualifying. What can the Ferrari driver do? A 4-time former champion. Pole position and race victory in Canada. Wins and poles used to be second nature for this guy, but since switching to the PS4 era in 2015, it's just not been the same. All his titles coming in the pre-PS4 era. On the PS3 days, he'll get a little bit of a toe here from Risky. Dan the Man will be happy with this. Risky pulls to the left. Dan the Man will take a bit of time from that. Should help him around this track. Runs very wide there. You can get away with it. Very nice through these twisty corners. Very nicely done through the chicane. What time has he found? We're about to see the second time. Any second, he's found 0.4 of a second. So he's improved on his previous best. This would put him around P3 and P4 on the second row of the grid. He'll just have enough time to set this lap, get back to the pits, and do one more, I think. Dan the Man needs to keep his cool. Confidence will be carrying over from the last race in Canada. I think he's a bit too far back to challenge that pole time from Fisher. That's a very good lap, a 1:27.9. We're going to see something special on the next runs. If that's going to be being, what can Dan the Man do? He comes across the line now. Can he improve on 6th? He crosses the line and goes first. Well, I stand corrected. Dan the Man puts himself right at the front, a 1:27.8, a 10.5 quicker than Machine Fishy in the Alfa Romeo. Now Dan will want to rush back to the pit lane, get a new set of tyres, but won't want to push too hard on these sets of tyres. Kong Hoffner doing very well at the moment in P7 and finding time. J. Luke has been disqualified from the session. I think maybe he's missed the pit lane, tried to get back in, and unfortunately that has disqualified him from the session, and one of the title contenders is going to be starting from P19 on the grid. That is not the ideal result for him. But with 4 minutes to go in this session, it's looking very tasty. Dan the Man currently leading from Fishy, Corey, Matt Tibbers and Kyle, the 5 title contenders, all at the front. Jay Luke, so far disqualified from the session and starting P19.
He is indeed, as we see Kyle on a flying lap now. He's just coming out onto the back straight. And how's this qualifying session gone, Dom? You've seen how this qualifying session's gone. Do you see anyone else maybe challenging for that 27.8 that Dan the Man's put at the top of the board for the time being?
Well, I thought Fishy's 127.9 was probably safe, but it appeared not. Dan the Man went a tenth and a half quicker, 127.8. So I think there's more time to find out there. The track seems to be getting drier. The clouds looking pretty grey, so maybe it's clearing up. Maybe the track temperatures are rising a little bit here. The track's definitely getting greener. But yeah, Corey, Fishy on our laps now. Matt Tibbles will be out very shortly. Dan the Man will be rushing back to that pit lane. He's only now just coming into the pit, so he's just going to have enough time. I think it's going to be tight to get out there, but it's going to be a very quick outlap to get across the line in time. But yeah, Kyle looking good here.
He is looking good, coming into the final couple of corners now, down to 4th gear, and then down into 2nd gear for this tricky final apex. He's got to get a good run out of here, because the start-finish line's a long way down the straight here at Paul Ricard. What's this lap time going to be? It's a 28 dead. So that puts him up into P3, and that's I missed what Jay Luke got disqualified for. Did you see, Dom?
Yeah, so Jay Luke I think missed the pit lane entry, trying to sort of reverse to get back in. He didn't want to do another lap with low fuel and increase the tyre wear, but unfortunately for him, that's disqualified him from the session. He starts at the back of the grid, and that's the last thing he needed. So he's in this title fight, and now he starts 19th with his rivals all starting at the front. So yeah, not the best start to his race so far.
Yes, definitely not indeed. So we've got, what, 2 minutes left of this session. We've got who's on flying laps as we speak. Kyle's on an in lap, so that's probably in for this session. Corey's on a flyer, yeah. So keep an eye on him. He's gone quicker than his previous best in the first sector. So that's what we like to see as he heads down the back straight, heading towards the chicane that is 8 and 9. So down 4th, 3rd gear, 2nd gear for that apex. Okay, that's well, it's not what I'd use, but the Corey's a quicker driver than me, so probably fair enough.
Oh!
Wow. What was that, Dom?
Weather report, we're hearing that it's a wet race. It is a wet race, so that throws another spanner in the works. And I said Fishy doesn't like the rain. Well, he's better get used to it, because we've got rain in the air, France.
Okay, wet race here for the French Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Corey's actually on the barnstorming lap. He's having a very good run so far. He's just got a couple more quarters to go. 3:13 in towards 14 now, down towards 4th gear, and then down into 2nd gear for turn 15. Got to have a really good exit out of here, because it's so important, the exit out of this corner, because how far down the start-finish line is on this straight. He's just run out of airs before, and he's gone quickest with a 27.7. Dan the Man is on an outlap. He's left that a bit late if he is actually on an outlap.
Yeah, I'm not sure Dan the Man's going to make it, but Machine Fishy will. He's currently 2 tenths up. He's finding time. Softy, 4-time former champion, reckons it's going to be a low to mid 127. I'm not sure we're going to see a low 27 around here at the moment. Dan the Man, I'm not sure he's going to set a lap in time. Corey's done for the day. So can Fishy displace the Mercedes driver? Kyle is done. He will not improve. Dan the Man is not going to get lapping, I don't think. He's just too far back with 10 seconds to go. Matt Tibbles is improving. Machine Fishy is improving, but is it going to be enough to displace Corey from pole position?
Yeah, well, let's see Machine Fishy crossing the line now. What's his time going to be? And he's gone pole by, wow, 6 thousandths he's on pole by. So we're just waiting to see what Matt Tibos does. He went 3 tenths quicker than his previous best in that middle sector. If he keeps up that sort of pace, it would put him just ahead of Kyle for 4th place on the grid. So he needs to find a bit more time if he's going to be challenging for that pole, Dom.
Yeah, no, it was a very good lap there. Dan the Man did not get another lap in, so he did leave it too late, not getting back out on track in time. He left it late, I did say, have to watch out for that. But it is down to Matt Tibbles. Risky racer, very well, P5. What a result that is for him if he can stay there. Aidan Griffins will start 7th. Carl Hoffner will not improve, he's done for the session. What can Matt Tibbles do? Crosses the line, can he go pole? He goes 4th. Just 2 tenths back from Machine Fishy's time.
Yes, he is indeed. So, I think that's... Is there anyone else still on runs? We've got Leclerc still on run. Well, Hoffner's spun it coming through the penultimate corner.
Bill Bargewell.
He's popped himself into P7. Yeah, Leclerc And I think... Oh, it's about... Oh, no, he's on the validated lap anyway. So it is literally Leclerc left. Where's he going to put himself? Is he going to improve on that 28.8 and put himself further up the grid? He needs to find about 5 tenths to put himself that further up the grid just to get P8. And he hasn't. He stays P11. I've just realised Con Hoffner and Jack Hickey in P9 and P10 have set identical lap times. But Con Hoffner set the lap first, so he gets to start P9 and on the clean side of the grid.
And 100 metres further up the road. So what a result then for Fishy, the 6th pole sitter of this season, just 6 thousandths clear of Corey. It was so tight. Those two were so close all of last season. And Machine Fishy, their rivalry is reunited here at France.
Yes, it is indeed. So, running down the rest of the grid, we've got Dan the Man in 3rd, literally less than a 10th off pole. Then we've got Matt in 4th, Kyle in 5th, Risky 6th, Phil Bardwell 7th, Aidan 8th, 9th is Con Hoffner, and 10th is Jack Hickey, rounding out your top 10. So, watching that qualifying session, how do you think the drivers are going to adapt to potentially wet racing?
Section. Starting 1st and 2nd, so they're not showing us any sign of fear as we go into the race. A wet race here at France that throws it. We know what happened last time. It rained in TGP1. We had the race at the Netherlands, which gave us one of the best races I think we've ever seen. So we can have another one of them. I'll be up for that.
Oh, it will be indeed. As we can see, it is a wet race to start with. Looking at what's in the garages, I would say it's an in to start for these guys. So I don't know if it's going to potentially get drier as the race goes on, or is it going to get wetter, or is it going to stay the same? We don't know that much from our weather report from the grid, but we've got a few more seconds. The drivers are just making their final strategy tweaks, ready to go for round number 10 of TGP1 Season 34, the French Grand Prix. So, final few seconds, like we said, and we're getting ready for the lights to come on. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights are on here in France for round number 10, and the lights go out, and away we go here in France. And it's a decent start from Corey, very tricky on the traction due to these wet conditions. I think Corey's going to have the lead into turn 1, Dom.
Yeah, very clean turn 1 so far. It's a very slow start for Fishy. He's down to 2nd already. A great start from Corey, and Matt Tibbers looking good too, up to 3rd. Dan the Man has dropped 2 places down to 5th, not what he needed. So far, everyone's through cleanly. Speed Newgarden has made a mistake at the background, so he's spun around, maybe tapping the back of a car in front. But yeah, Corey, what a start to get that Mercedes right to the front, right at the beginning.
Yes, it is indeed. Decent start from Corey. Still got Fishy all over the back of him. Matt Tibbos in 3rd, Kyle in 4th, Dan the Man in 5th. Then we have Leclerc in 6th, actually. A surprisingly good start from Leclerc. He started all the way down in P11. He's already up into P6.
Oh, tricky conditions. He got on the curb and he's put himself in the wall. The Haas driver is out of this race. I think Lee Hoffner may have collected it, but yeah, he just lost it. Risky lost it on the curb, and his spun round. The virtual safety car is deployed.
Yeah, you've seen it better than me. I didn't see what was going on at the back. I was trying to keep an idea of what was happening at the front of the queue. So did he just literally just lose it on that curb? That was it. Job done. Did he take anyone else with him apart from Hoffner?
Yeah, so Phil was right behind him. I thought they were going to touch actually, but Phil didn't quite get close enough, thankfully for him, to get involved in the incident. Risky Racer just, I think, on acceleration, lost the back end. It seemed to be, I didn't get a great view of it, but look like he lost the back end on acceleration. Tried to catch the car and spun off to the right side of the track, crashing into the wall, and that unfortunately collected Lee Hoffner. An unfortunate casualty in that, and the virtual safety car is about to end.
Yes, it is indeed. Getting ready to see the end of this virtual safety car now. And it's closed. I would say it's closed the back up, but realistically no one was really pulling away or anything, because it was the first lap of the race. So coming towards the start-finish line for the first time. Corey is in the lead, Fishy is in 2nd, and Matsibos is 3rd as the green light comes on, and we're back racing here. And there's a very good restart from Machine Fishy. He's all over the back of Corey. Corey's trying to squeeze him as much as he can. Heading into turn 1 now. He's going to have the inside line, Fishy, but Corey's going to have the outside for turn 2 and maintains position for the time being.
Brilliant racing from these front two. Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes. Corey and Fishy, the 2 title contenders from last season, looking racy, and we love to see it. These are conditions that these two were not necessarily wanted to have this fight in, but it's giving us some great racing so far. These two looking for victory here at France, and Matt Tibbos keeping a close eye in 3rd place. Kyle in 4th, and Dan for now P5. Disastrous start, just like it was in Canada.
Yes, it was indeed. front lot are starting to spread out slightly.
Oh, Corey's off! Corey's binned it! From the lead of the race, and Fishy takes over at the front, and is that going to be a safety car?
I don't think it will be, thanks to the cooling off period that is featured in the Codemasters games. But that is a disaster for Corey. He's starting to get himself back in contention, maybe for a title shot, and he does that, bins it on the exit, the same corner where Risky lost it, but he went off the other way and smacked into a different barrier, Dom.
Wow, what drama then here at Paul Ricard. Fishy could become the 7th winner in 7 races. He'll be loving the sight of that. And the Mercedes driver, I think maybe it's a similar situation to what happened to Risky, just losing the back end the exact same place and out of the race. So the Mercedes driver, wow, looked pretty certain to have a good chance of winning this between putting his tail hopes back on charge. But wow, out of the race. And yeah, Fishy, I think, would be more than likely to see that better than anyone else.
And that is good news for Matt Tibos, Kyle and Jay Luke, the people around him in the championship, as he's out of the race. And Kyle is 3rd, Tibos 2nd. Jay Luke's just put himself in the top 10 while he's just peeled into the pit lane, so maybe he had some front wing damage there as Tibos sets the fastest lap of the race. And let's see what the closest battle on the circuit is. I'd say it's Con Hoffner, actually all over the back of Iceman for P8 at the moment, Dom.
Indeed it is. You've got those two looking very racy. Con Hoffner wanting to get that place. It was a good qualifying from him, looking to gain places so far, yet to make a move. Speed Iceman has gained 5 places. He started back on the 7th row up to P8 already, so looking very good for him. I think CJ Leclerc was another big gainer. He gained 5 places, as did Jack Hickey from the back of the grid, of course, but Matt Tibbs now with a tow right behind Fishy, closing in. The Renault driver will want to get through. It's very similar to the last race in Canada, but this time the roles are reversed. Fishy, the one in front of Matt Tibbs. Matt Tibbs this time chasing the car in front. And where will he make the move around this circuit? No DRS, of course, in play.
Yeah, it is indeed. Scene is only just about flat. It's very sketchy flat, actually. Scene corner in the wet as we head into turn number... let me get that. Turn number 11. There we go. Around turn 11 into 12, and he maintains the lead, Fishy. Meanwhile, Iceman is overtaking Aiden. Has Aiden made a mistake? No. He's just literally overtaken him. So Iceman up to P7, Aiden down to P8, and he's going to have Con Hoffner for company any second now.
Yeah, it was a very good move from Speed Iceman, continuing his charge through the field. 6 places gained now into the top 7. He'll fancy his chances as he closed up now to 2 Red Bulls ahead of him. It's Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari from 4th down to 7th, and it looks like the front 2 are in their own little fight at the moment for this race victory. Kyle just a little too far back to do anything about these two. Matt Tibbs, another fastest lap. He charges up to the back of that Alfa Romeo, but for now just can't find any way through. 3/10 is the gap. He stays within a second. Not that it matters, of course, without the DRS, as Hoffner right on the back of Aidan Griffins going into turn 1, round the outside. Can the McLaren driver get through? Aidan dropping back in this race. He did make a couple of places at the start, but he's dropped back down to 8th, and now Con Hoffner looking to gain a place himself and get ahead of the Racing Point. It's Jack Hickey, the other Racing Point on the charge, side by side with Court in this first sector. The two of them side by side. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It is Court who does keep the position for now, so battle sprout the field here. There's Jack Hickey for now, behind Court.
Yeah, it is indeed. Meanwhile, we've got Matt Tibbs still all over the back of Fishy for P1 in this race, the race lead. And we've also got a big battle brewing between Mr. Chiapelli and Knighton, and that's for the final points paying position. So Chiapelli will be desperately trying to hold on to that, but I think Knighton is coming at him actually, heading towards turns 8 and 9. He's going to try and go round the outside, and he's got
nicely
the move
done.
Knighton into P10, Chiapelli down to P11.
Yeah, nicely done there from... sorry to drop your mic cut out for me, so I thought you'd stop talking, but you were still talking, so I do apologise. Yeah, nicely done there from Speed 9 around the outside of Mr. Chiapelli. So battle sprout the field. Mr. Chiapelli will look to keep the distance to him. Court still just about holding on to P12 from the other Racing Point of Jack Hickey as Coet goes wide. In fact, Jack Hickey up the inside will look for a move. Can't quite get it stuck there. For now, he sits behind. There was a chance as Court goes wide again. Really struggling on that Mercedes around these conditions, and Jack Hickey goes through and takes P12.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Con Hoffner has got back past actually Aiden. I think Aiden got back past him somewhere, and Hoffner's got past him again. So Con Hoffner back into P8, Aiden into P9, and they've got Knighton all over the back of them. So this is probably the biggest group of cars we've got for it, but we've still got that battle for the lead. Still only about 5/10. Matt Tibbs still keeping with the back of the machine Fishy as they head towards the twisty section of 4, 5, 6 and 7.
Hayden was looking for a move on Kong Hoffner into turn 1, couldn't quite get close enough. He'll look for a move into turn 3. Again, not quite close enough. He'll try and hook that curve, get a better exit onto the back straight, looking very racy. Wanted to take back the position that he lost.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dom, but Matt Tibos is all over the back of Machine Fish. He's going to make a move into turn 8. Is he going to get the move done and take the lead of this Grand Prix? I think he will. Into turn 8. Who's going to break later? They're still side by side. Side by side, and Machine Fishing just about holds on round the outside. Gets the inside apex for turn number 9. But Tibos is still all over the back of him. Is he going to try and move into C? It'd be dangerous to try and move into C in these conditions, and he's backed out of it. He's fought better of it. Maybe stick it up the inside at turn 11. No, I don't think he will. I think he'll sit behind him. And it's another agonising lap. Matt Tibos, I think, clearly has the pace on Fishy, but just can't find anywhere to get past.
This is brilliant racing from these two, giving us fantastic action at the front of the field. As I said, in a race of their own, 3 seconds clear of Kyle, the current championship leader, really seeming to struggle tonight. Just no match for the faster drivers out there. Maybe he's just now got a new focus to pick up the points, pick up the consistent results, and keep improving. When with drivers like Corey crashing out, it will only be come to his favour if he keeps getting these consistent points scorers. But yeah, what a move that was from Matt Tibbles, not quite getting through on the Alfa Romeo driver, as Jack Hickey now right on the back of Mr. Giapelli in P11 and 12.
Yeah, meanwhile we've got the 2 Red Bulls look like they're going to be due to be scrapping soon. We've got Aiden still all over the back of Kong Hoffner, and we've got Knighton all over the back, so we've got a 3-car train for PA. Meanwhile Matt Tibos still in tow with Machine Fishy in his Alfa Romeo. So a few battles on the circuit, but I think the biggest battle for, well, just sheer amount of cars battling is the battle for P8 as Aiden picks up a penalty in the slipstream of Kong Hoffman. Knighton waiting in the wings, waiting for something to happen. And Chiapelli's all over the back of Jack Hickey. I think Jack Hickey might have just got past, actually.
Yeah, he did. I think Matt Tibbles was a bit too far back to make a move on Fishy this time round into the chicane on that back straight. It's a disastrous race for Waze and J-Luke. Those two not doing good in the 16th and 17th. No points is going to be for those two. But yeah, Fishy a bit too far clear now of Matt Tibbles to make a move. But yeah, Speed 9 just 2 tenths back from Aiden Griffins. Can he make a move? These two made contact at Canada. Aiden apologised for it post-race, but Knighton might not necessarily be a fan of that still. These three very close on track, less than a second between the three of them. But for now, Kong Hoffner leads Aiden and Speed 9.
Yeah, meanwhile, Waze was the car
Mr. Chiapelli, side by side with Court. Sorry, it's cut across the two of them side by side. They were side by side for the whole chicane, and it is Mr. Chiapelli who takes the position into P12. So Court dropping back another place. He's still gaining places from where he started. As Mr. Chiapelli runs wide, and that gives a chance here now for Court to get back through, but no.
Yeah, I think Court is actually the one attacking Mr. Chiapelli here, and I think Chiapelli was defending. Chiapelli, I think, is just trying to stay as far up the road as he can. He's outside the points as it stands in this race. Meanwhile, Knighton all over the back of Aiden still in this race as Machine Fishy, I think, has finally found some pace, finally got used to these wet conditions, and it's just set in the fastest lap of the race and that extra point.
Yeah, he's responded very well to the pace that Matt Tibbles, setting the fastest lap and pulling now 7 tenths clear. There's a yellow flag in the second sector. That is just for Speed Newgarden, who's spun round. Again, losing the back end. That's good news for J-Luke and Risky, who both will likely gain a place now. Speed Newgarden at the very rear of the field. Not the race he needed here. Speed 9 continues to harass Aiden Griffins. Aiden Griffins continues to harass Kong Hoffner in front. These three drivers fighting over the final point positions in this race. Will this allow Jack Hickey, currently in 11th, to gain the time he needs to get himself in this fight for the final points? As Matt Tibbles, again, just 3 tenths back as we go on to the next straight.
Yes, he is indeed. Knighton is getting very close to the back of Aiden. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to make a move. He hasn't got the advantage of using DRS like he would in the dry conditions to go and make a move, and he hasn't been able to get anything done there. Meanwhile, Matt Tibos still all over the back of Machine Fishy, still just hounding and harrying. I'm trying to see if he can force Fishy into mistake, Tom.
Yeah, brilliant stuff at the front here. Mr. Chiapelli is back through on court at the chicane, so he's taking the place back from him. Machine Fishy leading still. Matt Tibos continuing to stay close to the track. Has it stopped raining? Is it still raining out there? It looks like it's getting drier.
It does look like it's getting dry. It's definitely a dry line forming, it looks like to me. I think the rain has stopped, and I'm seeing some lens flare on the camera now as we're on board with Matt Tibos. I think the sun may be coming out to these guys.
This is exactly what we had at Zandvoort that gave us the most wonderful finish to a league race.
Phil Bardrow's jumped into the pit lane. Is he going to jump onto slick tyres? Yes, he is.
He is.
He's basically jumped.
Wow, so he pits with medium tyres. And we look out now for the DRS-enabled board. Yeah, keep an eye on that. Has it been just a bit too early for Phil? I think the track's still a bit too wet, but we saw J-Luke pit in the Netherlands. We thought it was too early for him. He wanted to win the race. So maybe, just maybe, Phil has learnt from that. But let's see how he compares. The drivers on Inter starting to struggle now, so maybe the crossover is happening. As Matt Tibbles
maybe it is.
Closes on the back of the Alfa Romeo driver, getting very close again to Machine Fishy. Will we see these drivers pit for dry? Surely we will in the closing laps.
Yeah. I'm just keeping an eye on Phil Bardrow. He's losing actually quite a lot of time already to Mr. Chiapelli, so I think he's jumped a little bit too early. Phil Bardrow, yeah, he's already lost about a second this lap alone to the back of Chiapelli on the intervals, so I don't think that was the right call. J-Luke did have the advantage in Zandvoort of being under safety car when he pitted for those dry tyres in the drying conditions, so that helped him out there. I don't think Phil's not going to have that luxury, and in fact he's already lost 3 seconds to the back of Chiapelli, so he's definitely jumped too early.
Dan Mann was the only driver in Canada not to get a time penalty. Here in France he's the only driver to have a time penalty in that top 4, so he's not currently looking like he's going to snatch this race win this time. But yeah, the track's drying out a little bit, but it's just not drying out enough, and Phil Bardwell dropping back quite a bit from the cars in front. It's allowed Mr. Chiapelli to get up to P11, looking still for his first points of the season. Despite his great qualifying last time out in Canada, could not convert that to a points finish, finishing nearer the rear ends than he did at the front. Machine Fishy lapping cars, he overtakes Speed Risky, as does Matt Tibbars. But yeah, it's just too wet out there, I think.
Jumped into the pit lane as well. I don't know why
Virtual safety car.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's 4. Is that for Speed
Newgarden's DNF, yeah.
Well, this is a chance then for the drivers to dive into the pit lane.
Yeah, and Aiden's got to softs.
Pit for the dry tyres.
Yeah, Chiapelli's coming. He's going to have a front wing change and also jump onto the soft tyres for the Renault.
It's just too wet, surely.
I think it's too wet still.
When the VSC ended last time, we saw the run that Fishy had on Corey that almost put him straight into the lead of the race. Will we see a similar situation here with Matt Tibbars? Machine Fishy really perfected the race, the restart of the VSC last time. Can Matt Tibbars this time do it on Fishy?
I think the thing to watch out for is Phil, Aiden and Chiapelli's pace once this VSC comes in. If it starts improving next lap, maybe even next lap, as Phil Bardrow picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. But as I was saying, if their pace starts to improve this lap, it might be maybe some of the lead guys will think, hang on, jump onto the dries for the final 3 laps of this race. I don't know. The thing is, at this point, is it worth pitting now?
I don't know. I don't think it is. As I said, 4 laps to go next time they cross the line. Phil Bardwell for the 2nd week in a row. He's an old man, Phil Bardwell, and he picks up another time penalty for speeding under the VSC. He must learn automatic reactions, but to be fair to him, he is an old man, so let's not take that away from him.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the interval times, watching Aiden's interval time actually to his teammate, and he's dropping like a stone. So he's definitely jumped the gun again. So that's 3 guys who have already jumped the gun in this race, and they're going to be the guys battling for the last point as it stands.
Speed Knighton has chose to pit as well for dry tyres. He thinks it's now time. He was in a very good position, so surely these drivers know something to be pitting. Now it just looks too wet for me. The track just looks too wet. I don't understand why they're all coming in.
I don't understand it either, because there's spray actually being kicked up from the cars, and if there's spray still being kicked up on the racing line nevertheless as well, then it's clearly too wet still.
I think they've all watched back the Netherlands race that we had early in the season, and it worked so well for J-Luke. He perfected the strategy, and this time it's just not the same conditions. Unfortunately for him, it's just a little too wet this time, and all the drivers that have chosen to pit for the dry rubber, I just don't think it's going to pay off for them.
I don't think it will either. Knighton has come out in front of Aiden, so Knighton is going to retain in P9, Aiden P10, Phil P11, Chiapelli P12. They're the guys all on these soft tyres, and I think Chiapelli's come back in again actually. Yes, he has.
So will he go back then onto the intermediate tyres? Only the top 8 at the moment, and J-Luke in 12th are on the intermediates. The rest have all pitted for dry rubber. Phil went to the mediums, interestingly, not the softs. And Mr. Chiapelli has pitted, but has he gone back out onto the intermediates?
Yeah. No, he's stayed on his. He's stayed on the soft tyres, Dom.
Well, here we go then. 3 laps to go. Machine Fishy continues to lead this race. The gap at just 0.4 of a second. Fishy looking to become the 7th winner from 7 races. Looking to take his first win of this season. He was a favourite coming into it.
Yeah.
but for now, is just trying to save his season. 5/10 the gap with 3 laps to hold on.
He has indeed. He's just got 5/10 to gap. This closest battle on the circuit. It's nice to see it's the battle for the lead being the closest battle. I don't think any of this top 8 are going to come in and pit for these dry tyres like some of the guys further down the field. And like again, looking at these intervals, Speed Knighton he's lost 3 seconds in the last lap to Jack Hickey in front on the intermediate tyres, and he's on softs.
Yeah, Speed Risky chose to pit for the soft tyres. He spun straight away, so it's not working out for him in the the final sector. So the drivers that have pitted for softs are not only losing time, but they're spinning as well. They're losing too much. I think intermediates are definitely the right call to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think those guys have screwed any chance of a decent finish they had. I think, Speed Knighton and Aiden is kind of where they were before the VSC and when they pitted anyway, as Aiden has disconnected from the session. But Phil Bardrow is the real one.
Oh, the front! Sorry, Matt Tibbers is all over the back of Fishy, looking very close. Look, I was going to make a move. These two continuing to stay within just 5/10 of a second of each other. Matt Tibbers running out of time to get through on Fishy. And the drivers who have pitted for softs, it's not working out for them. In fact, J-Luke might actually pinch a points finish after all because of the drivers in front pitting for the soft tyres. Matt Tibbers continuing to harass Machine Fishy out front.
No, I think he's just too far back. He's currently, he is gaining heaps of time, but I think he's got too much to do. He's 13.5 seconds back and closing. So he might be able to get Aiden actually, but what I was trying to say is that guys like Knighton, Aiden, they weren't really, Chiapelli as well, Kurt, they were all either low end of the points or outside of the points. They haven't really lost out anything by pitting. The big loser is Phil Bardrow, who's had a drive-through as well, which he served while I was saying that previously. He's the big loser. He's had a drive-through, and he was running, I think, P6 before he pitted.
Yeah, he was. So not necessarily the best strategy that from Mr. Bargewell. Mr. Knighton as well also is now, he's still in the points, fair play to him. J-Luke isn't necessarily gaining as much time as I thought he would on the intermediate runners.
Meanwhile, Matt Tibbos is all over the back of Fishy this time, coming onto the back straight, heading towards turn number 8. He's going to have the overtake, he's going to have no DRS still in this race. Penultimate lap here in Paul Ricard. This race has actually flown by quite quickly here on the circuit Paul Ricard near the city of Marseille as they head out of turn 9. And I think Machine Fishy is safe for another lap as Mr. Chiapelli picks up a time penalty.
Carl in third will be praying that Machine Fishy can hold on and take points off his championship rival. At the moment, Carl is losing only 3 points to Matt Tibbos. But if Matt Tibbos can get through, it will be 10 points the difference. So I think Carl will be Machine Fishy's biggest fan here.
Yeah, meanwhile, I said J-Luke weren't going to catch the back of Aiden and Knighton. Looking at the gap now, it's less than a second. I know Aiden's disappeared off the screen, actually, so that's why he's caught Aiden. So he's got himself just into the points now. So there's a point now for J-Luke from the back of the grid. And now he's got 17 seconds to try and catch up to the back of Knighton, so I don't think that one's happening. Meanwhile, the leaders are coming on to the final lap of this race here at Paul Ricard. Matt Tibbos is going to try and give it everything he's got to try and win this Grand Prix, Dom.
Okay, and crucially now, I think is the time the drivers should be pitting for dry tyres, maybe. This is now the crossover stage, it's drying up, there's still a little bit of spray, but this is now the cleanest it's been all race. And look at this, you've got to be careful with the grease as well. Even though it might be drying up and it's still a bit of spray, there's still a chance of making a huge mistake. Machine Fish has to be so careful to get this home now. It's the final lap, he's led it from the front ever since Corey went off on lap 2. Machine Fishy just needs to hold his focus. He currently leads this race, but only just for Matt Tibbos, 5/10 the gap. Matt Tibbos is going to have a great chance here to get through.
He is. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move. It's definitely the driest it's looked all race. Don't think that if this had been 1 lap sooner, we'd had the DRS enabled, and we had DRS to assist him on this final lap, I reckon. Wouldn't you say, Dom?
Indeed, Machine Fishy and Tibbos both with just 10% ERS battery, so they're both struggling, and Fishy almost loses it, and DRS is now enabled.
Yeah, DRS enabled, and this can mean a drag race to the line because there's still one more DRS zone, and how far that finish line is on the main straight. He's giving it everything now, Matt Tibbos. He's all over the back of Fishy. He needs to keep it tight and keep it close in these final few corners. Have a good exit out of turn 15, and he might be able to drag him to the line, Dom.
This is brilliant. This is what we wanted to see. All race these two have been squabbling. The gap remains at less than half a second, as it has done for the last 25 minutes. This is brilliant. Machine Fishy for now might just hold on, but there's going to be a chance in the final corner, and then on the back straight, on the straight to the finish.
He's going to go for a move on the inside of turn 15. They're side by side. It's going to be a drag race to line. He's going to have DRS as well, Matt Tibos, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Machine Fishy is going to take home the French Grand Prix right in front by Matt Tibos by just over a tenth. Kyle is going to come home in third, and Dan the Man is going to come home fourth, and Leclerc in fifth. Dom.
What a race. Machine Fishy, the 8th different winner from the first 10 rounds of the season, as I've said many times before tonight. 7 from the last 7. What a race it was. He just held on. Matt Tibos had to go for it at the last corner. He did just that. Didn't quite have the traction then to get to the line. 1/10 in the end, the difference. What a race.
What a race indeed. But Matt Tibos, you can't say he didn't go for it. He tried everything. He gave it everything to try and pick up that race victory. But Machine Fishy just did enough in the end to hold on to it. Speed Knight and the first top of the soft run is actually going to come home in P8, so that's actually, I think he's gained overall, but I think because Iceman had to come in for another pit stop, so Iceman's going to come home P9, J-Luke is going to come home P10, he's going to have Aiden walk home wounded in P11, Kurt in 12th, and Phil Bardwell. What have you done? You were up in P6 before you decided to make the stupid call and go to the dry tyres, and look where you've ended up, Sunshine. You're down in 13th. Red Bull will not be happy, and you'll be on Helmut Marko's chopping block.
Will we see Phil or Court snatch the fastest lap at the end on these dry tyres? Of course, it has dried out. 9 currently has the fastest lap by 3/10 over Fishy. He himself went to the dry tyres, so it was quick enough for the dryers at the end, but it just didn't dry out.
So one of them did set fastest lap. I think it was Phil, but it was just too little too late for Phil in the end.
What a race then. Jack Hickey, driver of the day, started from the back, finished in 6th. That's another top 6 finish for him. That's 4 in the bounce for the Racing Point driver. But what a race from Fishy to take the top step of the podium for the first time this season. Great to see him back where he belongs.
Yeah, Fishy definitely picking up the victory. Had to deal with immense pressure from Matt Tibos all race. Really was hounded and harried by Corey at the start, then Matt Tibos. He just kept his cool and kept it on the road, which is all he really needed to do to pick up the victory here at Paul Ricard. Machine Fishy lifts the trophy on the podium and takes home 25 points for the Alfa Romeo team.
What a race, and J-Luke pinched a point in the end from Iceman thanks to Iceman's time penalties. So J-Luke scores, at least takes 2 points in this race, not the weekend he was after, but he does leave here with something at least.
He does indeed. So the full results will be coming at you any second now as we just wait for the screen to load up. Here
well, I can tell you it was Fishy who won the race from Matt Tibos. Carl was 3rd, Danaman 4th, CJ Leclerc in 5th, Jack Hickey Kong in 6th and 7th, 9th and in the end P8. J-Luke and Iceman completing the points positions, and it was Phil Bargel who takes the fastest lap, but once again tonight does not take the points.
Yeah, so no one takes any points for fastest lap, and as Dom said, no stops was the way to go in that race. So, what that was rounds 9 and 10 of TGP1 season 34. And next time out will be in Austria and Britain, I believe, for TGP1. 2 very contrasting circuits, but 2 very quick circuits indeed. One quite very undulated, but not really that technical of a circuit. And then one that's quite a technical circuit, but very fast and flowing. So, we're getting ready for those races next week. But any final thoughts on what we've seen tonight, Dom?
Well, this season continues to impress me. That's another new race winner for this season. It just continues. Who's going to win next week? Jack Hickey. He could still win a race this season. The likes of Phil, Court, they could also pinch in there and get a say. So this season just continues to amaze me. Who is the title contender here? It looks like there's a 5-way fight for the title between Fishy, Matt, Dan, Kyle, and maybe J-Luke as well. But yeah, what a night. Looking forward to next week already.
Yes, we are. So, thank you for watching these 2 races in TGP1 Season 34. Hopefully you did enjoy them, and we will see you next time out at Austria and Britain for rounds 11 and 12. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.